Welcome to the Chapten's Corner podcast, a fantasy edition. I am your host, Matthew Harris. Here with me tonight is Dustin Richards. How are we, mate?
Mate, I am doing fantastic. I'm back from my holiday. I come back to fantasy, and it's an interesting eye on everything. It's been an interesting week.
I have to agree, eh? This is the first fantasy edition of this podcast. I probably should give everyone a rundown of what we're really going to do. We're going to do a fantasy team of the week, along with the player of the week, which will be the high scoring player. We'll do a dud of the week. It won't necessarily be the lowest scoring player, but like a player that a lot of people do have that did score pretty low. We'll then do players to look out for in buying, like hot buys, also players to sell. Maybe they've changed positions, not going to be in a very sought after position, like a fullback going to centre or something like that. Then we'll give our opinions on some captain's choices, who we think you should captain and vice captain next week, and we'll probably wrap it up after that. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, a brilliant plan. It's like we planned this before.
Oh, I don't know, eh? We might have. We might have spent the last hour and a half. uh, anyways, should we get into things?
Yes, so best 17. You look at it and we have some big standouts and some surprising ones. So let's go to our fullback, and for me, it was Tyler Amatangi, great fullback, 152 points. Going
Oh,
into our, sorry.
I would like to mention 152 as the highest scoring fullback. That's pretty low for fullbacks. Normally, they're getting up around that 180, 190 range.
Yeah, they are. We saw last week of Dommy Ponkston, he got pretty high. It seemed a lot of the points of this round went into your forwards, and we'll get to those later. And there were some surprising forwards that did make it. With our centre wings, though, there was no doubt. You have that position there. It's so populated with dual position centre wings and fullbacks. It's not funny. It's something that I had to improve this season because last season, remember when wings and centres were completely different positions? Centres were literally, if you didn't have Kevin Dixon and Kane Chapman Kenny as your centres, there was no point in playing, really.
That's it.
Um, but with here, there's a bit more, and we actually do have some genuine centre wings. So we have Corey Bell, who's at 140, Shannon
That was a
Freeburn.
fullback.
Well, yeah, that doesn't count. Shannon Freeburn, 106 points, Michael Crimp, 99, and Dom Ponkston, 97. So, Eels got two boys in there. Pretty well done to those lads. Ponkston and Corey Bell, of course, no surprise. They're always going to be high up on that leaderboard.
I'll say well done
Even,
to the both of them because they scored high in losing sides.
yeah, especially Corey, 140. He was electric in that
He,
game.
he did everything for that team on that night.
He certainly did, and it directly shows in Super Coach. And, one thing that I I wish I could develop my own point system, but it would take too much time and coding, and I don't have that skill set. When your team does lose, you do lose, like you don't score as much, which I is something I wish I could really improve on. And for Corey to score 140 out of a losing side is outstanding.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it was at two tries, 7 or 8 line breaks, still in a losing side. Like, solid
Yeah,
work.
and the boys he lost to, the Eels, two of them made the team of the week in that centre wing spot. So he fought two genuine good players and toppled them in the points too.
100%. I'd like to give a special mention to Freeburn and Crimp because they completely outscored their opposite numbers, and their opposite numbers, the much more fancy players in Nahana, Broaden Thompson, and Maverick Oldfield, considering what they did in round one.
Oh, we'll get to that in a second. But the halves now, so one thing is this is also unfortunately fluctuated with a lot of hookers. But for this week we have Kieran Wells 171 and Jack Carl 164. Carl was outstanding in the win. I thought the moment he clicked on and did his first try assist, I'm like, oh, this is big. I was looking back at it, and Carl was one of the best halves to own last year. He did have some ups and downs with two scores below 90, but the rest of that, he averaged well above 102 points last season. And now I think he's well above that with 132.
Not bad. I think he's got like 3 try assists to try, 264 run meters, 4 or 5 line breaks for a half as well. It was an outstanding performance.
Yeah, and with his other team of the week half, Kieran Rolls, good old Moana kind of tipped everyone off, and I think he's regretting it now that Kieran was going to play 80 at hooker, and to me, the value he was at the start of the season, which was 600,000. That's how much he was at the start of the season. He's then gone on to score 212 in the first week and 171 this week. He scored a try and he's goal kicking. He's going to rack you up a lot of points if you own him. And he's a solid captain option week in, week out.
I wish that I seen that tip because I would have picked him.
Yeah. Well, I think I had Moana to begin with. And then he's like, nah. So the week before the first game, I'm like, okay, maybe I do go Wellesley. And I did, and there you go. Thanks, Damien.
Yeah, Moana's just like, come on, guys, give me the praises.
Well, he also had a good game with, what was it? It was 135. So he's unlucky to make this team of the week, but he did score pretty well. He's back to that season 4-esque scoring.
Not bad. Should we move on to the middle forwards? You want me to talk about this one a little bit?
Yes, go ahead.
We got Jackson Allison at 8, scored 115. Jordan Lewis at 10, scoring 107. Honestly, not surprised either of them are there. Like, Allison played outstanding in the smashing they gave to the Knights. And in a losing side, Jordan Lewis he tried his heart out. Only lost by 2 points. It was a hell of a game, but I honestly felt like there would have been more forwards involved in that Raiders-Rabbits game in the team of the week, considering it was a low-scoring, tough affair, which is where your forwards will get more points from.
Yeah, certainly. And, the closer the game, the better it is for fantasy points. If you own a number of players playing against each other. And just looking at it, they're like, really, there wasn't a lot of like high points. While Kowal only got 65, who was it? Myself only got 58. Aaron O'Hare only got 68. So it was a low scoring game for forwards, and it was very tough. So Jordan Lewis to get in the team of the week, good on him. On the other hand, Allison was a player that he wasn't essentially a pod last season, but he did have a pivotal role in a lot of teams. He wasn't owned by a lot, but he was owned by enough of the population where you wouldn't want to buy him because then it would just be so close. For me, him and Lachlan Martin, have been two solid players in the first 2 weeks, and if you have the cash, splash it at one of them, but we'll get to those hot buys soon. Second rowers now, you say?
We haven't hit the hooker yet. We'll go to the hooker first.
Oh, hooker, yeah.
James Thorne.
Yes, James Thorne, and with this, he scored 246. I had a look at it, because Maddie mentioned this beforehand. This is the highest scoring points by a player ever. I know last season, the first week, it was the Eels, and Levi Raymond came out with a solid 220 first game, but now he got 246 points by James Thorne. If you had captained him, you would have gotten 492 points.
Jesus. But I feel like we should talk a bit more about him in our next segment. Should we move on to the second rowers now?
Yes. Second row is a bit of a surprise. I didn't think I'd see his name up here. I was shocked when I came back from. I got back Friday morning and I was going through all the points and I noticed Talis Riff and I'm like, 111 points Talis Riff got playing centre, and then moving to the front row after the 60th minute. He played pretty damn well.
I actually didn't realise he started at centre.
Yeah, I was shocked because I think I watched the game back on Friday, and I'm like, what the heck? He's playing three, and how's a centre racking up points for 40 minutes and then somehow going to the front row and scoring?
Did he outscore KCK when KCK played half a game at centre? And then half?
Let me have a look. No, KCK got 134.
Oh yeah, KCK had a try and a try assist.
Yeah.
Still though, that's in 60 minutes, 40 minutes in a less desirable position, and then to play 20 at prop and score that big.
Yeah. It's pretty damn good. And to think he was a bench forward for Penrith last season.
Speaking of bench forwards though, Cameron Hodgson's performance shouldn't be overshadowed. He started on the bench, played 20 at prop, and then played 40, I believe it was at second row.
I think
It was
so.
either second row or lock. I know he was thereabouts in the middle. And I think he made like 5 or 6 line breaks, made 160 odd run meters, scored a try for that matter too. It was a hell of a performance in a short period of time.
It certainly was, and gonna be honest, this team list is stacked with Cowboys. I believe as Anthony McDonald did it recently. Cowboys, I think they're like worth 15 million, something ridiculous like that.
Jeez.
If I go find it, because he did every single team. Because the poor bloke, he's at the bottom, and the only people behind him are like people who started this week. Yeah, here we are. Broncos 11 million, Cowboys 15 million, Eels 12 million, Knights 12 million, Panthers are 9 million. That's the lowest.
I'm not surprised considering their start to the season.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Warriors are only just the least valued team with nine by $100,000 as their 9.5. Storm are 12.4, Manly 12.3. Yeah, Prodigy's got a bit of a value over you, mate. Rabbits 10.3, Raiders 10 million on the dot.
Bloody hell.
Yeah.
So some of the those prices are an accurate representation to the season so far. Well,
Oh,
honestly,
100%.
all of them are. Like even with like Cowboys first on the ladder, and then like they're bloody even though they're even with Manly in wins, their performances have been just like there hasn't even been a contest in both of their games. They've been in second gear and just outscoring their opponents that badly, and so that they deserve that $15 million price tag.
I'm scared that I don't own Tyler Amatangi, to be honest. I'm very scared because I reckon he's going to put on a bloody clinic against the Broncos.
I think I own Mobiston and Lordy.
Okay. That's not bad because let's go to Robbo Mobiston. 121.
Yeah, he's 13 for our team of the week.
Yep. So he outscores Chris Lord, captain, by not much though. 'Cause I think Lordy, he got 103.
103, he got like 2 try assists.
Yeah.
His usual 150 plus meters, I believe. For a forward to be
Crazy.
averaging over 150 meters every season is just outstanding. I
He
talk too much about him, eh? I
he
use
lives
it.
in your head rent free.
I used this line yesterday. I butchered it a bit, but I called him our Lord and Savior Jesus Chris.
Oh my god.
Yes, I know it's an amazing line. Feel free to use it. um,
If Damien's listening, if any cows are listening, that's going to be his nickname from now on.
it's gotta,
100%. Moving on to our bench. Of course, it's going to be filled with hookers. Not those hookers, dummy
Sounds like a good
halves.
Friday night, am I right?
Yeah. It's Sunday night, mate. Come on. We're recording on a Sunday.
Alright,
Um,
fair enough.
you got 5 more days. Relax, buddy. It's all good.
Yeah.
Let the little fella rest.
Hey, don't insult me
Um,
like that.
sorry, medium-sized fella.
That's better.
Um, all right. Jimmy Ralph, 173, your hooker, who's been playing 80. Good, solid captain option week in, week out, as well as Kieran. You know, your hookers are going to be always solid. Um, it's an easy thing to do, just put your captain on the hooker, because they're going to score well. There is the occasional time that a fullback or half could outscore them, though.
But they
You
have to
also
have a
got,
hell of a performance to actually do that. Like a fullback will only outscore a hooker if he's scoring free tries.
yeah, like your Dom Pongston or your Eli Barnes recently.
That's exactly it.
Blair Curtin, 171. Daniel Hallier, 161. Mark Lee, 160. Now, that is a bit different because Mark Lee plays 40 at lock and 40 at hooker. So
He played well in both positions there.
he does. And I think he is still. To be honest, I'm going to be honest here right now. I'm targeting him in the coming weeks. I'm looking at my team. I think I need to get Chris in, and I also need to get Mark in. But it's going to be a bit tough with I don't know how, because I brought in Rex Buckingham to gain me some cash. I got 700,000 because of a little trade I did this week. I'll talk about those later, but I'm hoping I can get those two guys in within the coming weeks. But altogether, if you would have had this team, which no one did because no one owns James Thorne, no
Not
one.
yet, at least not yet.
Well,
That's the problem. He's so pricey though, so it's hard to actually get him in the side.
he's 1.8 million.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So his break even is going to be very high. At the moment, I believe it's 207. So he needs to score well below 200 to dip in price. If that's going to be who you're targeting, you bloody better make sure you have some good quality rookies that can gain you money. Problem is, this season we don't have a lot of rookie halves coming through like we did last season, and we don't have forwards playing 80 minutes that are rookies.
We did have Mike
One big,
Borsons that just came in, didn't he?
sorry.
Mike Borsons just came in. He's a rookie half. Starting off the bench this week, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up pushing his way in.
Yes, that's very true. That's someone you have to watch out. Waiko Manu as well. He's a fullback. He's going to be playing 80 though, so is he really going to be a major sell? Probably not. He's averaging 135 per game. He's doing extremely well for a rookie half. He's filling in that Brady Kennedy spot really well, I must say. So he may be a hold until the end of the season, unless someone pops off in that fullback spot. But yeah, altogether 2,660 points.
Yeah, I think I scored half of that in my team.
So did I. I think, yeah. To be honest, I think I did too. You can definitely see how the captain system has inflated those scores because last season you wouldn't have had that much.
Or is that
Uh,
2,600 including a captain in Fawn?
yeah, that's correct.
Still crazy numbers though.
It's still, yeah.
Like in this list,
Uh,
there's not many people under 100. And
There's only two.
there's only two, and it's a 99 and a 97, so it might as well be 100.
Yeah. Um, this season has gotten a lot more expensive than I thought it would, and by having two players near that 1.8 million mark is outrageous. And the fact is, one of them isn't even in the top five. So, bit interesting there.
Yeah.
I don't think because Manly and Cowboys, as you know, are currently top two. Manly's highest player would be Jimmy Ralph, followed by Chaz Dingo.
Makes sense, the fullback and the hooker.
Yeah, 100%. I'm interested to see because your plans with KCK are looks like it plays center and then half, so it's going to be interesting to see how his price and points fluctuate during that.
Oh, this week it's going to be 80 minutes in the halves.
There you go. So, oh, I didn't even realize that. Ooh, okay, that's something to watch out for.
So, I
But
did a lot of sims, and both Isaac and Kane, they play better in the positions they've been listed at.
okay, very interesting then. So Isaac in the centers and KCK in the halves.
Um, if this means anything, I did 6 sims against the Storm. Isaac scored in every single game at center. So,
And now I'm going to tell you how many people own Isaac Simon. Not Isaac Simons. Isaac Edwards. 8 people own him. So for those 8 people listening, you might want to keep him in your side for now.
I'll also point out that KCK at 5'8", I believe in the 6 sims was minimum 2 try involvements. So yeah, that's also an interesting one. I think his price is plummeted because he started at centre A.
That is correct. Yeah. So if I have a look at it, and for anyone who doesn't know, you can just go into the back end of the prices sheet. Please don't touch it because it'll fuck everything up. But you can have a look at previous scores. KCK scored 36 at centre, 134 at centre and half. Pretty good stuff. On
Now
top
he's
of that,
likely to be playing 80 at half, so that score might just rise.
it could well and truly rise. It could stay near the same. We could see a Jack Carl score, possibly, pending on how tough the Storm is.
Let's hope
They
we verse week 2 Storm, not week 1.
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of teams right now that they haven't cemented who they are. It's a bit rough because I think that's Canberra, Brizzy, Knights, and Storm. There's 4 teams right there out of the 10 who haven't shown us their full potential or their worse. They've both lost games.
That's it.
But now, we spoke about him earlier. Gun of the week, James Thorne.
I got his stats up here. So, as we touched on before, scored 246, being the highest ever score in SRL Fantasy. Getting this, he made 304 run meters, helped by the fact he scored a 98-meter trap and scrap try. But it wasn't even just his offense. He also made 32 tackles with only 2 missed. Back to his offense, he had 4 line breaks, 2 tries, and a try assist. No wonder he scored so big.
I have a look at it, and you can tell this Broncos side can easily put on points when they want to. They scored a lot. -8. They still have a -8 break even. If I call him Gilly because that's what everyone else calls him, but it's Jack Carl. If Gilly and Dawn can continue this offensive type of play, they can certainly score big minutes, and they could be people you were hunting for at the back end. Like they could get so pricey but then they get that high break even and plummet a little bit, and then that's when you snatch. Issue is, are you going to wait, or are you just going to try and go full send right now? Because when they plummet, people will try and get them.
I agree 100%.
Next week, they have the cows, and then if I go, let me get up their matches. Oh, by the way, no one has an easy draw. No one, like, there's some challenging games in this season. Brisbane, they have a 50-50 within the next 3 matches. They have the Cowboys, which is going to be really tough. Following week, they have Auckland, who are yet to win a game. They're 0-2. And Canberra, we'll see where Canberra is. Because they've won a game by 2 points and have lost a game by 2 points.
That's
I don't have
Rabbits, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's correct. The Rabbitohs are also a team that are very unpredictable because their team sheet is changing every week.
Like, yeah, no one's really established yet, except for, I guess, the
Cows
Cowboys.
and
Like,
yeah,
I wouldn't even say Manly have established a bit of proper form yet. Like, we're winning our games, but we're not doing it convincingly by no stretch.
yeah. You're not going to be like, no offense, you're not winning by 40 points per game.
No, we're not the Cowboys right now.
No, Cowboys on another level. They like. I barely remember season 4, unfortunately, because I was watching a lot of the mines, and I came in near the back end of season 4 because that's when the mines started. But they didn't always win convincingly. I think they just grinded their heart out every week, the Cowboys. Because that's when they were like really young. Like Chris and Damien just arrived. Is that right?
Nah, Chris Lord, he started in season 2. He
I,
he
I mean,
started
there's like the cows.
at the Cows. He had a full season 3,
Yep.
where he did make finals.
Yep.
And then season 4 they went all the way, went one step
Yeah.
further. Like during this time they were like Manly's biggest threat. Like every time we come up against them, I'm like, okay, we got a bit of a challenge here. And 3 of the 4 games we played, we got the chocolates, but we lost the one that really counted in season 4, which ended up ending our dreams at having a three-peat.
Yeah. Wow. You ever feel bad for Canberra? Lost 2 grand finals on the trot.
That also happened to Souths. Poor.
Yeah.
If you got
Yeah.
green on your jersey, I feel for you. Well, unless you got red too, then fuck yous.
Oh. Just so that you know, 15th of August, Cows versus Manly at 1300 Smile Stadium. That's not going to be easy, mate. It's at home too
I'm looking forward to
for
it.
Cows. I am too. I can't wait. And then following rivalry round, it's a grand final rematch at GIO. But
That should be epic.
yeah, 100%. Depends how Canberra go against Eels. No, not Eels. Who is it?
Canberra, I think they're playing Penrith.
Oh yeah, that makes sense because they're like real big rivals in real life too. Hate Penrith.
I also hate Penrith.
Mate, I'm a Canberra fan in real life, so
Ooh.
yeah, yeah.
You wouldn't
6
have,
again.
You wouldn't have liked 2019, eh?
Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna tell this. So in our communication class at uni, our lecturer put on the grand final 6 again video,
Mm.
and she goes to me because she knew because I was wearing a Canberra jersey at the time. She goes to me, "Oi, how do you, can you explain?" She paused it after the 6 again, and Sydney got the ball back. She's like, "Keegan, can you explain to me what happened after this?" And I'm like, explained it, and everyone just started laughing. I'm like, "Yeah, that happened." So yeah,
See, I'll talk to you off air about it, but I have a few points to make about that, which normally turns the Canberra fans around and take my side of things. But we are in a fantasy podcast here, so we should probably get back to it. Should we move on to our dud of the week?
Yeah, dud of the week. I think people are going to guess it straight off the bat. 10 people own him. 10 people started him this week. I don't have the stats for the traded in because I don't have that set up yet. It's just a lot of work. That's MBT.
Yeah,
Now, for those who don't own MBT, the other, I think, 15 players, MBT was the standout of the centre wing spot last week for the primary centre wings who don't play fullback because he brought in a solid 127. This week, he brought in 12.
yeah, 12 points. He was so quiet. 3 runs for 16 metres. He made 4 tackles, which is quite a lot for a winger, but he also missed 4, which offsets that. And just after his round 1 performance, you're thinking, well, what's his price going to get to? What's the limit for a winger to get to? And then he does that.
Yeah, well, because Maverick Oldfield did the same thing, and they were roughly $500,000 each. MBT being 441,000. For everyone who owned him, and when he got that 127, they were thinking, oh yeah, he'll get around the 70, above 70, you would imagine, after that convincing week.
Like at
But no, he
least
gets
get a
12.
couple of line breaks. You're up at 70, but yeah, no, 12 points.
He did gain people 200,000, but it's not what they were expecting. You would
Especially
have,
after that round 1 performance.
oh, 100%. I think any Storm fan was like that because Will Kay not only lost money, it, good thing is, a lot of Storm players did gain value. Majority of them did. Only people who lost, it seems, was Will Kay, um, Lecky Tua, Dylan Sharp, and then Ben Punch and Blake Harris, which is no surprise. One, they're not getting. Lecky's not getting 80 minutes as he used to, I believe. Dylan Sharp's in the centres and didn't score good. He only scored 31. Blake, he's coming off the bench. However, he will be starting 6 with Sam Herbin now going inactive.
Not the first
That
time
was
he's
good.
went in active playing for the Storm.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Sam Herbin was in the Storm side in season 1. And he
Interesting.
went inactive and then came back for season 2 with Manly.
All right. There you go. Well, I will also let you know. Blake Harris is currently worth less than 400,000, and he's playing 5'8".
Yeah, I'm actually looking into that. But at the same time, it's like, I might get him, but at the same time, I'll be buying him, but also hoping he scores badly because he is coming up against my boys.
Yeah, that's right. But also, you got to think, non-biasedly, uh, does he retain that 6th spot? Because no disrespect to him, but he does have a mouth on him. It's gotten him in trouble before. He has been benched because of it. But you've also got Bunsakaru, who's been brought up to a 17.
Oh yeah, because he's a primary half, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Honestly, considering Blake has been pretty good this season,
He
um,
has.
I'm talking about with his mouth. It's hard to do much playing 40 minutes at centre on the field.
Yeah.
But I think with... I can't say his name. The guy you just said, Tracer, I think his name is.
Yeah, Bonsakaru.
Yeah. I think him being there, yeah, it's like it's going to put that challenge onto the jersey where Blake's going to be like, no, I want to hold on to this. I've just got my hands on it. So I reckon he'll be all right. I reckon he'll be a mainstay at the 6th. I feel like Tracer, he will have what Blake Harris's role was for the first 2 rounds, where he will just come in at centre.
Yeah, I feel that too. Also, got to remember, Sonny Tyre can play half. But I don't think he will be moving from hooker anytime soon.
I don't believe so either.
Yeah. He was another good pickup if you had him. Because
Yeah,
he's gained.
I picked him in the starting 17 that I had when I started.
So did I. The moment he got announced, and this is how far back I went. I had to go back to season 1 and count every stat and count every Supercoach point he did from season 1 all the way until he went inactive at Canberra.
Yeah, like he was good before he left.
He was very good.
Right, should we move on to our players to sell, hot buys?
Yes. So this is our selling duds segment. Um, Now this isn't going to be someone you should sell because they've brinked up in price. This is someone you should sell because they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing for the value that you have them at when you bought them. Let's introduce our first one, and I think it's sticking out like a sore thumb, Joey Kelly.
Yeah, so he had the price of a fullback at almost 1.5 million to start the season, but
Mm.
has been playing on the wing. I think in round 1 he only got to play the 40 at wing, and then another
Yes.
20 in the middle. But he's averaging only 44 points. He's worth only 404,000 now. In those 2 weeks, his values dropped from almost 1.5 mil down to that 404, losing about 815k.
Yeah, it's not good for owners there because one, oh, also I would say I looks like I did grab the wrong person. He was worth 1.2 million. But if you had bought Joey, looking at it, because I'm going to give you the average he had at fullback last season, 135 points per game at fullback. He had, I believe it was 6 games at fullback, 2 at centre wing last season, and then 1 with the bye. When he was on that right edge, he averaged 44 points last season. Now he's averaging only 36.
So he's actually taken a step back on the wing role.
Yeah, and you would have thought with them putting a toweling over Newcastle that they would have been able to score some points, which he kind of did. He scored 58, although it didn't amount to much. Unfortunately, it looks as if we could be seeing. So sorry, I would also say that's at centre wing. That's everything. So that's this season and last season. He's averaging 36 every time he plays centre wing. I would have. So when Joey Kelly got dropped from leadership, it looked as if Brody Kennedy had already won the race for the fullback spot prior to him to Joey getting dropped. But it just shows that I think if you did grab Joey before season started, I think it was a bit of a mistake, and you can certainly see now with the stats. I don't know how many people have traded him out. I would imagine it would be a few, as you would probably suspect. Looking at it, I believe Kelly is currently owned by one person, so people have traded him out, which is good to see because not everyone's blind, it appears.
Yeah, I almost picked Joey Kelly, but then I made an effort to look at the team list. I'm like, oh, he's playing wing. No, thank you.
Yeah, and for that big price range, you lost a lot of money. You
Oh,
lost $800,000.
yeah, no, thank you. And one thing I will like to point out with that decision to have Kennedy there, um, it is a no-brainer decision. Even though Kelly is so good at fullback and probably
Mm.
outpointed Kennedy in that role, um, when you look at it as like a grand scheme, the bigger picture, do you want your gold player playing fullback with? I think Kennedy's a silver, a high-ranking silver. You want your two of your best outside backs. Do you want one playing center and one playing fullback, or do you want one playing wing and one playing fullback? Like
It's got to be the latter.
yeah, you're gonna want one on the wing, one at fullback because the wing has more impact to the game than the centre will, and that's the big reason why Dingo outpoints KCK for the fullback role for me. Like I'm not gonna pick KCK at fullback when I'm gonna have Dingo in the centres. Like
Mm.
yeah, I could have Dingo in the halves too now, but
Do you want
Dingo's.
to?
See, I can do the test and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, Dingo's the incumbent. He's proven he plays good every single game. Even when we lose, Dingo's playing good. KCK can have a blinder, but he also has a couple of shockers at fullback too. So
I think that's also because if like Chaz undoubtedly, I can't remember. Did he win fullback of the year? Or was that Kennedy?
last season,
Yeah,
I believe it was Kennedy.
yeah.
And I
If
think
you remember that middle stretch, people were going off with Kennedy because he was about to break the all-time try scoring record. At the back end, it was Chaz, who was the most wanted fullback. He was doing outstanding work. Then you have a look at it. Joey was there too. He wasn't silent, but he was hunting for that number one fullback spot.
like yeah, Joey in the 6 games he beat that record for most tries in a season, and he
Yeah,
beat it by like 3 tries as well. I think it's at 15 now by him, or 14 or 15, something like that. Had a
we can have a
hell of a
look.
back end of the season. Well, I think he was scoring 3+ tries a game. I think there was one game in that back end that he scored under 3.
Yeah, there you go. 15 tries a season. Oh no, sorry, 14 by Joey Kelly last season. There's a lot of points broken last season actually. Carl Lewis broke the all-time point scoring record, 88, and Jack Carl
Hey,
broke the all-time try assist with 11.
that's actually breaking Carl Lewis's previous record of 9.
Yeah.
He did that in his debut season, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, he debuted in season 2, like a lot of the Manly boys, and yeah, he got the try assist. I think he was equal with Byron Boone, which you won't remember that name. He only played the one season. R-
Yeah, no.
Rookie of the Year contender. I think he got Rookie of the Year. I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. Because
Um,
when I joined, Malachi Booth, another inactive, got
oh,
rookie
so
and
unlucky.
Tim.
Like on the field, he was amazing. When we would watch the games in the watch party, the Manly chat, we would be like screaming Velvet Thunder because he'd always make like a big line break. It was great to watch, but then just I had to ask him every week to upgrade, and it got to a point where I'm like, yeah, you're a good player, but like I want someone that wants to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
And my wingers now, we got Tyler Weston. He watches the streams with us all the time, and Ben O'Donnell. He's active in the chat. Both of them clearly want to be in the SRL, so I'm glad to have them.
Yeah, I played with Ben back in the mines in the Firehawks. He was always active. Um, that Firehawk side from season 4, majority of us are still active actually.
Well, that's what you want.
Yeah. Um, we would. I think there was a time like every upgrade day, we would get our upgrades in before like 9 a.m. Wednesday. That's how keen we were back then.
Bloody hell! I think at a point we would have 17 from 17 within the first day, but then like
Yeah.
I would still be asking a few of the players like, "Hey, come on, get your upgrade in."
It annoys me because it can take 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's like I think my mate Nick, which I've convinced him to come back, but when he first went in, he's just like, "Oh, it can't be stuff. It's too much effort." I'm like, "Bro, it's 2 seconds. I can remind you to do it, and then like, if there's a big game on and you want to watch, come watch it with us. And then
Mm.
I convinced him to come back. He's back now. I'm telling him he's actually playing pretty good, um, to an extent because he's not playing many minutes. So he's into it, but he's not fully into it yet.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we're getting a bit off topic again. It does happen. That's how podcasts are. We kind of just spitball and go off it. Shall we move on to the next selling
Well,
card?
I will let you know this one last fact. In the past two games, the Cowboys have leaked on average 25.5 points per game to right edge wingers.
Sell Kelly.
Sell Kelly
To
now,
whoever
please.
it is, that one guy, sell him.
Yeah.
'Cause he's already lost 800. He's probably losing another 200 more.
Yeah.
All right, so
um.
yeah, you want me to run this one off?
Yes, please do.
All right, so our next selling dud is none other than Liam Rogers. Started off at 661k. He's now at 482, a loss of 179k. He's averaging only 52 points at lock, which, let's be real, that number's
It's
way too
not
low.
lock. It's not lock standards in my opinion.
Not at all.
You have a look at Matty Harris, Chris Lord, Aaron O'Hare. You're getting high 80s, 90s. Even like Chrissy Lord gets 100 plus every week nearly. 52.5, not on. Look, you get him at second row forward, and I think that was the big thing for me was that you get him at second row forward and you don't fill up a lock spot because of it. You only get two lock spots in SRL Fantasy, so you need to pick carefully. Right now, not that Liam was worth the second row forward spot, he's not now. Because for the value you get him at, you should be getting more.
100%.
I'll tell you this. He is a little less than Riley Murray. Riley Murray started off at rookie price, $175,000.
Yeah, I picked him up real early. But yeah,
But
just I've said it to Bunsey. I've said it on my stream or on the podcast. Sorry, um, Rogers. You got to throw him at 11. He's a gun of a second rower. Even at 12, if you
mm,
want. I I said it. I said it on the podcast for this week, which you will see. Sneaker, bro. He's got some dirt on Bunsey. You know, he's blackmailing him to like keep himself in the starting side. Bunsey, it's a safe space. I've got your back. Just put Rogers at 11. Throw Corcoran at 13.
please.
Because like
Well, that's the
Corcoran's another. He's a brilliant 13. When he plays there, he's dynamic. And that's what the
100%.
Warriors are missing right now is that dynamic player right in the middle. Like you got Nanai, who's destructive, but he doesn't like Nanai doesn't have too much of the ball playing skills like Corcoran does. Don't get me wrong,
Mm.
Nanai got a try assist against us last week, but still, just Corcoran's the best 13 option you guys got, and Rogers at 11 is just from what I've seen him playing in the second row, he's got to be there. Sneeko, bro, bench forward at best.
Yeah, I think he's that 20-minute prop, unfortunately. Although he is pretty active and he is on the Warriors leadership group. But that
That's
was the
probably the
thing.
dirty as. He's part of the leadership group. Well,
What
if that's
there's
the
a
case,
lot
then
of
why'd Kelly get thrown to the wing?
yeah, I don't know. I look, there was a lot of juice like juicy gossip around this Warriors side. You know, a lot of people unfortunately did say they would get the wooden spoon. They're going for it at the moment. They're competing with Penrith for it. For me though, Liam seemed like the hot buy. He was going to be the cheapest lock there, and we were all told he was going to play 65 minutes. He's playing 40
Well,
at
that's a
the
big
moment.
reason why that average is only at 52. Because if he's only playing half a
Mm.
game,
Yeah. So if he was playing at 65, 100% worth it. But 40 at lock for his price, no. Uh, on top of that, Wires are winless at the moment, and it seems like they're just putting the same team list out every Friday. So it doesn't look like there's anything changing at the moment. And for me, there's better alternatives, which we will get to soon. Because if you, what we're going to do with the hot buys, when we say there's a selling dud, We're going to replace it with a hot buy in that position.
Yeah, 100%. Should you run off the first one, or do you want me to run him off because he is a Manly boy?
I'll let you do the honours.
All right. So hot buy in this centre wing position is none other than Tyler Weston. His price is currently 543. Sorry, no, that was his previous price. He's now at
Mm-hmm.
675, a gain of 132. He's averaging 73.5 a game. That's with him playing centre last week, like 40 minutes at centre and 20 at prop. He's back on the wing for 480 this week, mind you. So that's a little inside tip for us. Honestly, he's solid. He generally makes a break off every kick return. He's not normally getting dragged back. So even if he's not making 30, 40 metres, he's always going to get that line break. As soon as you break the line, you get the line break, your points go up. It doesn't matter on the metres at that point,
Yeah.
although the metres are always good. So yeah, for his price, at 675, it is like some people might not have that sort of cash to splash on a winger. But for me,
It-
considering he is going to be an 80-minute winger for the foreseeable future at the very least, I like it when he's on the field. He's always doing something. He'd be
On
a
top
solid
of that,
pickup.
he's on the left side.
That's it. Also, although the left and right, it really depends on the team.
Yeah,
Some
true.
teams like to go left, some teams like to go right. It's same with second rowers. You'll notice, like with Manly left edge second rowers are so good, but then you get who's a good example? The Knights. Knights
Pete
right.
Veretta.
Pete Verretto on the right side is doing a lot better.
Yeah. Um, I look at it and like this is tooting your horn. Manly and Cows are just killing it.
Oh,
You're both
shucks.
2 from 2, and you're gonna need to start buying these players. And I looked at it and I lost it because I had Nathan Fisher, and I'm like, and he got shifted to right edge, right, and to because he's no longer the fullback. Cody Mansour is, so I needed a new winger like pronto. So I looked at it. I looked at it. I noticed Tyler. He's cheaper than Tatera Maxwell, who's also playing left hand side. And
I thought Maxwell was right end.
they've changed it because now Kobe Kelly is right.
Oh yeah, they did change it because Kelly was left on the first 2 weeks and then changed to right this week. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that's another thing why I didn't buy him because they've just changed it again. So what am I doing here? I don't know. So I picked the safer option I felt, and on top of that, I looked at the draw. You guys have got Storm, Para, and Newcastle within the next 3 weeks. And as we mentioned before, oh, and then Canberra. What did we mention about those 4 sides before? They haven't solidified themselves. They haven't made their identity this season yet.
That's it. So
You
he's
know,
a solid option. I reckon he's going to be short price to actually bag a few tries in the upcoming weeks, considering those details.
this is going to solidify it even more for you. On average, the Storm have conceded 83.5 points per game to left-sided wingers.
You hear that, Tyler? You're getting a meat pie on Tuesday, son. You're getting a meat pie.
Watch this completely backfire. I'm gonna bloody hate it.
Okay, $90. It does backfire.
90. I'm not betting $90. I spent too much money this past week.
If you knew me,
And
you'd know that it's going to be wrong. Anytime I say $90, I lose.
oh, look, I spent too much money. I got other stuff to pay for now. Um, for me, Tyler Weston. Have a look at him. You know, he might surprise you this week. But moving on, I'm going to introduce my boy. All right, he's a Rabbitohs player, Jesse Bennett.
He was my boy.
He was your boy. Now, I He's second row forward, and you're going to be like, when you hear this, you're going to be like, why the hell am I trading this guy in? He started off at 730,000. He's now worth 367,000. Therefore, he's lost roughly about $364,000 in value, and he's averaging around that 40 mark. What? Why am I saying he's a hot buy? You probably you probably think I'm having an aneurysm or something like that. I'm not. Trust me. Bennett has lost a lot of money. If you look at the team list, he's starting on the left edge. We all know how dangerous he can be at the left edge because look at Manly. You know more better than anyone, mate, because you've played with him and you've done this little trick millions of times with Jesse. First time he's grabbing that starting second row spot all season. He beats out myself, Dustin Richards, and he beats out Castle Cow. Just remember, all three of us were considered for the second rower of the year award, and two of us got it. Myself and Bennett. We have a pretty stacked forward side this year. I think it's worth the money to go through to Bennett. At most, you're gonna get upwards in value. Having a look, his break even is scroll up. 41. That's an easy break even to get if you're playing left back row.
And generally, the left back rowers, they get most of their points in that first half.
Yeah, 100%. They do. Only thing is, as I mentioned, I'm lurking in the background. I'm starting 15. I'm no doubt playing at 20 minutes at prop. It's whether we switch at half time. I'm just going to give you that little information. Because, our minutes are unknown at this point. I think it's going to be a real battle because I want my starting second row spot back. I'm going to do anything for it.
Well, that's it. It's like what I've noticed is when there's like competition for the positions, those players are going to tend to perform more because they want to keep that position. So his price is very low, and he's going to be fighting to keep that spot.
100%. And Jesse Bennett is a gold, right? You don't bench golds for long. I'm still a
Unless it's
bronze,
Jackson
so
Allison, you do it for a season.
yeah. Well, didn't that pay off well?
It did pay off well, eh?
So Rabbitohs, they have the Warriors who are 0-2. Big rivalry round for big rivalry game because we bloody hate the Warriors. They knocked us out of finals contention. So, this could be a game to fight for.
I might be
Um,
remembering wrong, but I'm pretty
46
I'm
0.
pretty sure Bennett is good for a try against the Warriors. I think he's done it 2 or 3 times.
There you go. So, and I'll just let you know, Liam put a poster up in the chat saying 46 0. We all know what 46 0 meant to Rabbitohs. If you don't know what that means, season 4 we got knocked out of finals contention because we lost 46 0.
Oh, that was a good night.
No, it wasn't. Well, I was still Firehawks at that point, but Also, to top it all off, similar to Tyler Weston, we play Auckland, Newcastle, and then Para. Again, 3 teams who haven't solidified their personality in the league. Could be a good couple 3 weeks for Bennett owners. Could be a couple good weeks for Dustin Richards owners. You never know. But what do you got to say? Because you know Jesse Bennett better than anyone.
The fact he's starting is already gonna it's gonna bring up his score by 20, 30 just by that alone. Um, if he plays 80 there, he's gonna get up above 100, no doubt. Um, but it's more likely that he will play 60. He'll probably play 40 there, then have a 20-minute spell in the props. Depending on which side he goes on, will really determine if he gets a good score there too. I notice when Bennett plays at 10, like the right prop, he's outstanding. A little bit quieter in that 8 role.
Yeah.
So only time will tell if he's at 10 or 8 or if he plays the 80. But regardless, he will beat his break even.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, if I think minimum I'm playing 40 minutes. My break even is currently 38. It's less than Bennett's. So yeah,
There you go, a couple of options. Should we move
there's a
on?
couple options.
Should we move on to our final segment?
Yes.
Captain choices, vice captain choices. Haven't
Yeah,
haven't
captain.
thought of a
Captain.
name for this captains this week. Yeah.
Chapten's choices. How's that?
You know what? That's perfect. Captain's choices. Um, you want me to go with the VCs and then you move on to the captains?
How about we alternate it? You do a VC, I do a VC, and we'll do that.
Yeah, no worries.
Well, I'll start off because it's another Rabbitohs player, and I have Tyrone Clay at VC. Now, if you don't know, because I know someone has traded in Kevin Dixon this round, I won't name who, but buddy, you're not going to get any points with him. He's injured. We've got Mark
I
Iron,
think
who's
I
going to
know
be on the
who.
bench for us. We've got Harrison Andrews starting in the centre, Jai Collins going to the wing, and Tyrone Clay, mate, he gets the start in fullback spot this week. Gonna let you know, he's only played 2 games at fullback ever since Fantasy SRL was created. 95.5 with Tyrone. Now that isn't huge by fullback standards, but it is a great VC option because it's against the Warriors. They could potentially put on a bloody clinic against the Wars.
See, I think
And
I think the average is only so low for a fullback because I think one of the games he played fullback, he was subbed off at halftime. He got switched.
yes, that does seem. Yeah, that seems right because something happened, and I think Saddle Cart came into the fullback spot. Can't remember. I don't think Tyrone was injured. Oh no, that was when Kevin Dixon was injured. Saddle Cart came on.
Dixon got injured. Dixon came on at fullback at halftime.
That's right. Yeah, that would have been the case. Yeah.
But you don't get that. Yeah, Mark Iron's in the side, but I see Mark Iron being subbed on in the centres or on the wing,
Yeah.
not for Clay.
He hasn't been fantastic at fullback in the mines, so there's something. Um, Tyrone Clay, if you own him, genuine VC option for me.
100%.
First game of the round, that's pretty good. If you captain like your James Thorne, who is, let me see, because I've got the was thing here.
Just a little sidebar. The initial plan for this podcast was for it to be like a little sideshow for the main one, but it's almost hit in the same amount of time. We're already above an hour.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
We love chit chatting, but no. Well then, with that, let's move on to your VC.
Milo Kerrigan. He's regularly playing 80 on the left edge, averaging 92 points, which is just solid. I can tell you right now, he's going to keep regularly playing the left edge, unless things change, which won't be disclosed right now. Um, but for the foreseeable future, he's going to be playing 80. He's making solid inroads in the defense. I think he's averaging 170 odd meters a game. Like he's gotten 170 plus in both games this season so far. It was his first real chance to start at second row because he just changed one of his positions there, and he's taken it with both hands. He really filled the hole that Bennett left last season.
Yeah, great solid pickup. I'm so glad I picked Milo up before the first week.
Yeah, I picked him up knowing he was going to be playing 80.
Yeah, I can't wait to be a captain one day.
Yeah,
So I know these
just so you
answers.
have the insider tricks for your own
Yeah.
team. That was
Yep.
me with Jimmy Ralph last season.
um, moving on. My next VC is actually going to be James Dawn. No, sorry, not James Dawn. Corey Bell. Corey Bell. He's up against Manly. We know how good Manly can be, as you know. That's why I'm going to do him a VC. He's the second game on the Tuesday. So you have 3 games following that if you do tend to captain someone else on that Wednesday. Averaging 134 points at fullback. Great VC option. Or you could just straight captain him. It's your choice, really.
I will add to that Corey Bell pick. I know sims don't mean much in the grand scheme of things, but in every single sim that I ran, even the ones where we flogged them, Corey Bell was always involved, always got at least a try, but normally got 2. So take that information as you will.
Yeah, I think I just got my VC then.
There you go.
Bloody hell. Alrighty.
I think in one of the sims, even though Manly, I think we won it. It was a close game, but he had like I think it was 212 meters at halftime. And like he didn't even score a try in that 212. He scored his tries later on in the second half. But I was like, okay, maybe we are going to work around this one. But yeah, so Bell is going to be deadly dangerous at all times. He's averaging, like you said, 134 a game. Solid, absolute solid pick for our vice captain.
Yeah, 100%. And let's move on to captains now.
All right, first captain. I think this is going to be a surprise to no one. It is James Vaughan, averaging 207 points a game, helped by the fact he just scored 246.
Yeah,
he's
look,
a
we
hooker.
don't have to
He's a
explain
goal
this.
kicker. Just pick him. If you have
Yeah.
him in your side, pick him.
Yeah. That's all we have to say, really.
Yeah,
Next
we talked about James Vaughan enough, eh?
Yeah. Next captain for me is going to be Raiku Manu because, one, he has been fantastic filling in that void that was Brody Kennedy, my bad. Averaging 135 per game up against Newcastle, who looked a bit shaky against Broncos last week. For me, he's a captain that can do a solid job. You could look somewhere else between those two sides. I've tried to do a vice captain and a captain all at one, for each team, each game. Didn't do that for Manly Storm, obviously, but Raiku Manu, he's my pick for Knights versus Parramatta.
And then our last captain, or captain's choice, I should say, Timothy James, averaging 165 a game. He's always thereabouts. He's always pulling the strings over there at Raiders, and he did it over at the Eels too. He's just an all-round solid player, and he's hard not to pick as a captain.
Yeah, look, Tim James is the best hooker in the comp for a reason. All time, he's won a premiership with Eels.
Second best.
Second best. Who's the first?
Jimmy.
Hasn't proven that much yet.
Yeah,
he's
not
got one ring.
With all the forward passes he does. Tim James is Jimmy is a bit lower because of that.
But yeah, Tim James, solid captain's choice. If you own him, good on you. I know Tim James owns himself, so he's gonna be loving that. But with that, we're all done here, mate.
Yeah, I believe we are. Thank you for listening. This has been the Captain's Corner podcast, Fantasy Edition. Yes, it's about an hour and 10 minutes long. Might try to cut that down unless you guys are all for it. It'll be its own podcast. Catch yous next week. Take care.
Cheers, lads.